What is up there, citizens of the Reject Nation? Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday journey. And thank you to all who have been subscribing. That means the world. Subscribe, click the notification bell. Do that. Do that. It'd be great. Join the Reject Nation. Leave a like. Leave a like for Wednesday, Addams, and how good this show is. John, how are you?
I am excited and spooky and all the things. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to reap what I woe. Alrighty, guys. Also, full-length reaction watch-alongs where you sync up with your own copy of Wednesday, available for our super sexy rejects over at our Patreon page. Thank you to all who have joined our page so far. And we cover several shows over there exclusively with the reaction highlights and watch-alongs included. Going to mention that every intro. You know how we do. Alrighty, guys. Well, let's get to it.
How well do we really know our parents?
Not well at all.
He was accused of a murder that took place right up there. Which leads me to wonder.
Whoa.
1990.
Hey.
What did you do?
I don't like to tell tales, Sheriff Walker, but it's all Morticia Frump's fault. They were fighting over her.
It's because he didn't go to the Raven with you.
Possibly a fish. Seeing you in handcuffs, accused of murder.
I love it.
I've never loved you more.
All right, that's enough, Addams. Let's go.
Gomez was definitely taller.
The guy stabbed himself and then jumped. I don't buy it. Suave son of a bee.
I like him having a mysterious background.
Get some more lurch in the show.
Catherine Zeta's got that perfect walk down.
But I'm happy to report that Eugene is on the mend and is expected to make a full recovery.
What? The real Eugene?
Show him to me.
Try in a coma. Have you been to see him?
Okay, so he is alive.
Did you look at my family? Talk about toxic pack mentality. I give my mom 30 seconds before her judgy claws come out.
Let's see him.
The claws are a metaphor.
How are you, my little rain cloud?
I thought Thing was filling you in on my every move.
So how's the little fella doing?
He's still stealing the show.
Since you've abandoned me here, I've been hunted, haunted, and the target of an attempted murder.
Ah, nevermore. I love you so.
Flashing back to the glory days.
Look at you.
1,000. 1,000.
Have you not been waxing?
3 seconds. That's a personal best.
Yes.
Gabrielle hasn't shown her face since I started here. Probably sunning herself somewhere in the Seychelles.
My darling daughter,
Whoa.
I made it. Wouldn't
Dang.
miss this for the world.
Mama.
She looks horrified.
Do you remember when we did that duet? Your Judy Garland impression was a dead ringer.
Sounds positively.
Let's do it.
My picture's gone. Really? Well, that is odd. Wednesday's assimilation has been rocky at best.
Because I refuse to embrace the culture of dishonesty and denial permeating this school.
My girl.
Dr. Kimbert and I have spoken, and we both agree it would be most beneficial for you all to attend a family session this weekend.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be good.
What can it hurt? I mean, to be honest, I've always been a big fan of head shrinking.
Yep. Go see Trader Sam.
It's hard to stomach a murderer wandering around town scot-free.
At least they care enough about Wednesday to go to therapy with her.
Ah.
Tape off the scene, I'll be right there. You okay? What's going on?
You know Reggie, the local coroner? He just blew his...
What?
Whoa.
Why would he do that? Oh, you get food in therapy there?
Maybe we can discuss what it's like having Wednesday away from home.
It's been hard not having Wednesday around.
Oh.
I never thought I'd miss being waterboarded so much.
In good time, Pugsley, in good time.
Who was Garrett Gates, and why are you accused of murdering him?
Whoa.
I know.
Your father is an innocent man.
Local sheriff doesn't seem too convinced.
Wednesday, stop. This is neither the time nor the place.
Actually,
It's
this is
therapy.
exactly the place. These sessions
Doctor, this does not concern you.
You're getting defensive, Tish.
Thanks for the candy.
Actually, that's potpourri.
Why did you say something earlier?
Yeah, come on.
I was wondering. It's kind of weird that they were eating in therapy.
How could you ambush your father like that?
You insisted I go to this school. Did you really think I wouldn't find out your secret?
You don't know the full story. Your father did nothing wrong.
I'll be the judge of that.
Be a good time for a vision.
Certainly looked like he murdered him.
How did you find me?
Morning Song community misses you.
They got to find another place to congregate.
The only place in town.
It's time to come home.
That place was never my home.
Gideon said you'd resist.
Don't say that man's name to me. You think he'd give a damn about some single mom and her daughter if we weren't sirens?
That is no way to talk about your stepfather.
Aw, damn.
My siren song is drying up. Recruitment numbers are way down and the wrong people are starting to ask questions. This wasn't a request.
This is a sudden plot.
You got until the end of the weekend to say your goodbyes.
Consult some unlikely friends.
It was making me care about Bianca.
Eh?
Thanks for keeping an eye on him. He didn't deserve this. I should be in that bed. Why did you go without me?
She's getting emotional.
You must be Wednesday. Eugene's moms, Sue and Janet.
Aw.
You were so excited to finally make a real friend.
Well, I brought him some honey.
Eugene loves those dang bees like they're his kids. His fuzzy, buzzy babies.
Aw.
He's gonna be okay.
Look how uncomfortable she is.
I know.
We got security footage?
Black bubblegum. Got them scrubbing through video to find out how long it's been there.
Black bubblegum.
Damn it.
He felt guilty about an old case. Says he covered it up, faked the coroner's report, and has been living with that guilt for all these years.
It's a setup.
What case?
Garrett Gates? You heard of it?
I'm waiting 30 years to put away his murderer.
What weird timing. Ooh, that looks delicious.
You're not hungry, darling?
My appetite eludes me, Mother. The same way the truth eludes you.
Denies your appetite for justice.
We need to tell her.
She'll never believe us.
You'd be surprised.
Truth will set you free.
It's kind of interesting to portray the parents like almost antagonistic.
Ajax and I haven't defined our relationship yet.
I'm not talking about boys. Have you wolfed out yet?
The judgmental claws coming out.
No.
Well, that is a disappointment.
That's me.
No, just wait till episode 8. No, you're not going to arrest him. Oh, my God.
You're under arrest for the murder of Garrett Gates. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Oh, this is bullshit.
Wow,
I got nipple
in front
chills.
of everyone, too.
Aw.
Buddy.
My little Tormenta. How's your mother?
Devastated. She hates you in orange.
It's a hard color to pull off.
It all came to a head the night of the Raven Dance.
System protects predators.
His twisted love for your mother had made him insane. His eyes bore into me, brimming with murderous intent.
Go! Get out of here! He won't hurt me!
What were his powers?
Driven by jealousy and hate, Garrett was unstoppable.
Ooh! Damn.
Damn, this dude is extremely jealous.
This almost seems like he's possessed of something.
When I saw the sword, my survival instinct kicked in.
Foaming in the mouth. He's rabid.
It was a terrible accident.
Why wouldn't Wednesday believe this? Damn. That was a really good effect.
Yeah. Had really good timing.
His confession sounds entirely plausible. Perhaps my father is exactly what he says. Thank you for being so honest with me.
But perhaps not.
But then there's the matter of his tells. The way he smooths his mustache. The way he delivers a comforting wink. I've been playing Russian roulette with him since I was 12.
I'm sorry. I wasn't a better father.
How many fathers hand their daughter a fencing blade when she's 5 years old?
Your saber strokes were an essay in perfection.
Or teach her how to swim with sharks?
They found you as cold-blooded as I do.
Father of the Year.
You taught me how to be strong and independent. How to navigate myself in a world full of treachery and prejudice. You are the reason I understand how imperative it is that I never lose sight of myself.
That's touching.
So as far as fatherhood goes, I would say you've been more than adequate.
Wow. What a sentimental sentence.
Bernice!
Bernice may or may not have received a call that her tabby cat Swifty is being held for ransom.
All I see is a guilty man who's finally going to pay for his crime. And cuffing him myself. Oh, that was the icing on the cake.
Such a prick.
I found the monster's cave, and I gave you the DNA evidence. Did you even bother to test it?
No match. Inconclusive.
Whoever hurt Eugene also murdered the coroner.
Unfortunately, someone sabotaged the security camera in the morgue, so we don't know what happened.
This is all a distraction.
No, this is about justice being served. Garrett Gates' family deserves closure, even if none of them are around to take comfort in it. His mother hung herself in the backyard, his father drank himself to an early grave, and even his little sister didn't escape.
That was dark as shit.
Ended up drowning.
Oh.
Every last one of them's gone.
No, there's a cover-up happening here. So someone knows how to cover things up to make it look like they're off in themselves. Happy Wolf Summer Camp. Speed up the wolf process.
So camps for lycanthropy conversion?
No need to be dramatic, Enid.
You want to send me to conversion therapy for werewolves?
It worked wonders for your cousin Lucille, didn't it?
Speak up, Dad.
You forgot your fishing gear.
Stop trying to be nice. Doesn't suit you.
Father packed her favorite bait.
Severed fingers. Of course. Should have known.
Let's see if the fish are biting. It's quite a catch.
God damn.
You have to find out the truth and free Dad.
Well, until that happens, we both know Mother will be falling apart.
Look at that focus. Damn.
Which means we have to be strong. And by we, I mean you.
You're the glue now, Pugsley.
Give me one of those.
I love these shots. Just the out of focus backgrounds and the lake, the light reflecting on them.
Great contrast between all the colors and then their monochromatic palette.
So you're a nightshade.
Actually, I rejected them. I'll never live up to your legacy here. I won the Poe Cup, you claimed it 4 times. I joined the fencing team, you captained it.
Damn.
The group was started by an ancestor of your father's from Mexico.
Goody. I saw her painting at Pilgrim World.
How ironic, since she was the one who killed Joseph Craigstone. The Nightshades were her secret but deadly answer to his oppression.
Oh, answers.
Father didn't kill Garrett Gates, did he?
You did.
I found your father fighting for his life. It was terrifying.
Garrett, no!
I'll never forget the way he looked at me. He was even foaming at the mouth.
Yikes.
It was like I was staring into the eyes of a rabid beast.
Looks like Crispin Glover, that guy.
That's love, baby.
Your father was so calm.
It's a good man.
It's true love.
You need to leave right now. Go to your room and lock the door. He would never hear.
His voice does sound like him.
Mm-hmm. It's a good match.
Before when they cleared him of any wrongdoing, but I knew someday this would come back to haunt us.
And not in the fun way.
There's still self-defense, though.
You said Garrett was foaming at the mouth. His eyes didn't look human. Or maybe it wasn't rage at all. Foaming saliva, dilated pupils, mental confusion.
Possession.
What are those all textbook symptoms of?
Adderall.
Withdrawal.
How can that be?
There's only one way to find out.
No. That devilish smile.
Oh, yes.
When you got your first grave-digging kid, you were so happy you nearly smiled.
Jesus.
I was right.
Well, well. What do we have here? Guess it's gonna be an Addams family reunion in lockup tonight.
Haha.
Even how she puts up her hands.
Get comfortable. You can post bail in the morning.
It's a souvenir from our outing. I borrowed it from Garrett.
Ooh.
He died from nightshade poisoning.
Garrett was dying.
Before you stabbed him.
He would have survived the fall.
Prove to me you're still worthy to be called my son! Kill all those outcasts. Sneak into that dance and spike the punch bowl.
Oh, I must have missed the line that he was a Norman. Oh, God, I see.
Wow.
God damn.
Yikes.
Interesting how history seems to keep repeating itself.
He had a vial of nightshade poison that broke in his pocket. He wasn't just trying to kill Father. He was going to use the nightshade poison to murder the entire school.
Now, how can you prove this?
That blue sheen is a telltale sign of nightshade poisoning.
But you already knew that. Because back when you were sheriff, you were in charge of the case and covered it up.
Who was the the coroner? Yeah. Okay.
Why did you instruct Dr. Anwar to falsify the autopsy report? You knew the truth.
Now, if there had been a trial, both Jericho's and Nevermore's reputations would have been trashed.
I think the only reputation you were worried about ruining was your own. Garrett bragging to me that his father had the sheriff in his pocket. 1 year later, you get elected mayor.
Real credit to the force.
You could have prevented Garrett's death if you had done your job when I lodged my complaint about him stalking me. Men like you have no idea what it feels like not to be believed.
Oh, topical.
You too, huh?
What do you want?
For Gomez to be let out of prison.
Yeah, it seems pretty obvious, man.
Should also tell the truth to the sheriff.
Nah, let him figure it out in his own time.
Sometimes when I touch someone or something, I get these very violent glimpses from the past or future.
Our psychic ability resides on the spectrum of who we are. My visions tend to be positive. That makes me a dove. You're a raven. Your visions are more potent, more powerful.
Like the dance raven.
Somebody from our bloodline reaches out from beyond to help us when we're ready.
Goody.
Goody has.
Be careful, Wednesday. Goody was a witch of great strength, but her vengeance pushed her too far, and even she couldn't save herself.
Tell her the whole story.
Yeah, you've seen
She has
so much of it. It's the most clear vision you've had.
I don't hold grudges, only blood debts. Your daughter and my son have become close. I pity any boy who gets caught in her viper's gaze, but he must be a good egg. He has his mom to thank for that.
What if it's the mom who is the monster?
Nope. It's Tyler.
It's gotta be.
She doesn't put her arms on. Stands it. Perfect in the role, man.
I'm not going. If I'm meant to wolf out, then I'm going to do it on my own timeline and not yours.
Goddamn right.
At the end of this episode.
I'm proud of you, kiddo. You do you.
I'm hip with the kids.
I was hoping he sounded more like this. I'm proud of you, kiddo.
Wait until the school year is over.
How do I know you won't run away again?
Because she gets a spin-off.
I I knew you didn't have what it takes to be a murderer.
As much as that stings, gracias, my little death trap.
All the wonderful times I had here. You have your own path to blaze.
And you're making quite the impression.
I like the themes of this episode. Thought you might do it.
Yeah. Last episode. There'll be a big group hug.
I did witness Roan getting murdered that night.
Excuse me.
When Roan appeared the next morning, it was you.
What?
Talent show with my mother. Not only did you impersonate Judy Garland, you became her.
Wow. It's an immaculate pause.
Roan's father already knows what happened, and he fully supports my decision not to involve the authorities.
Ooh.
His telekinetic abilities were driving him mad, and he attempted to murder you twice. His tragic death allowed us to rectify the situation without casting the school or Rowan in an unflattering light.
A lot of cover-ups.
I did what I needed to do to shield the school from controversy and protect its students from harm.
Tell that to Eugene. How are you protecting him?
Oh, God. Please do not let anything terrible happen to Eugene after it's already happened once to Eugene. Whoa.
Fire will rain.
Oh, my.
Great shot.
Nice reflection.
Not
Gandia
Tim Burton.
Montiero.
Fire will rain. Was that spelled correctly for that?
Depending.
It's got good symmetry.
Yeah.
4-letter words. Rain, fire, rain.
Yeah.
Elements.
Yeah, they were like, REGIN just throws the whole thing off.
It's too much letters.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's one mystery solved.
All right, another good episode. Getting another mystery out of the way. One mystery solved. But what I really liked about it, because I thought the mystery of Gomez Addams and the murder case here would, I thought it could resolve later, and B, I thought that it would perhaps tie more directly into the immediate plot line.
Sure.
Of the mystery of who's the monster and the cover-ups there. I mean, but it does still enhance the current storylines that we're dealing with. For example, like unpacking the fact that there's so much cover-ups that is part of, of the hierarchy here is that the rich remain in power, the powerful like to cover things up, and it's all about the image protection and whatnot. So I think that ties into there. But what I did appreciate most about what this episode did with, even though they got out of the way on the 5th episode and it doesn't exactly go to serve the main story, it enhanced the character development of Wednesday, like with uncovering, her connection with her dad. Like I love the scene with him in the jail and her talk, because there is that divide where she's closer. Well, she's like a tomboyish kind of person. I don't know. Is that offensive now? Every word I say now, I'm always like, it's offensive. It's tomboyish. I haven't heard anyone say it. But is that an offensive thing to say to someone? I don't know if it is.
I don't know. You let us know, but I'm going to fall on the side of it's all right.
I'll just say the qualities of the kind of individual she was shaped into are in large part due to the type of nurturing relationship she had with her father. And yet, even though she's more like her mom in a lot of ways, at least when you kind of look on the surface, she's more adept to the world around her because of her dad. And so this enhanced that relationship, because so much of why she is emotionally the way she comes across, whether it be closed off or what she cares about or where her interests are, is so much to do with her parents. And this episode dealt so much with defining yourself and not being defined by your family, which it's not like a negative thing. It's something that I think a lot of people deal with, especially adolescents, of learning to grow into your own and not feel like you have to just, go through with upholding whatever it is that your parents really want for you to do, but be who you are. And so it kind of did both of establishing like, no, there's a lot of good things she got, but she really is her own person. And that kind of reflects through with Enid and it shows like the generational trauma that can be inherited through the other characters, especially going through the past. So I thought it at least served, maybe not on the plot line, it didn't directly affect the whole thing of like who's the monster and the murders that are happening now. It does segue into her discovering via yearbook who Gwendoline Christie really is, but it at least gave a lot of character development that and to me that's arguably more important. I thought it would do a little bit more for the sheriff, since that was such a big part of his introduction.
Yeah.
Was like, you're an Addams. I hate the Addams. Go, Miss Addams.
And
at the end, it's like,
lifelong vendetta.
At the end of the day, he's like, sorry about that.
I guess your daughter's into my son.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed the episode a lot. It's not my favorite out of the 5 that we've seen so far, but I still really liked it, and I still thought it moved the story forward and our main character forward in really nice ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the addition of a Parents' Day, especially at a place where you go and you board a boarding school, I feel like has to be something of a both cathartic but also tense experience, because anytime I feel like a parent comes into the academic environment, there's sort of a reason to be sort of on edge, and also too everyone's at that age. But yeah, I liked seeing everybody's different family makeup and what they have to play off of, but also what informs them as characters. And even though like the thing with Enid is not like the most original idea ever, I appreciated just the characterization of everybody, or Bianca's mom, just getting a different view into what each character has to deal with and why they might behave the way they do at school without their parents, because of what they're trying to, these shadows they're trying to escape, or the paradigms that they're trying to break free of that they feel like are being forced upon them for one reason or another. And I think that they've done a nice job of painting a good array. It seems like, Bianca's mother is in, something more of a, maybe not like nefarious, but something more of a, it seems like she may be up to more overt no good than just being overbearing.
Doubt it.
Like, like Enid's parents or something like that. But even getting to see Eugene's family briefly for a moment, and kind of getting a clue as to how and why he is so sweet amid this, array of other more prickly outcasts and whatnot. And having the Addams family here for an episode was also just a nice. It was smart, because it's a tension adder for everyone in general, but it also gets you some time with the full-on Addams family, which I loved getting a little bit of bonding between Wednesday and Pugsley. And I found actually MGM has at least like a season's worth, or it's like 15 episodes worth of just old Addams family episodes just on YouTube for anyone to watch. And part of the, like, looking back at those episodes, part of the charm is like, oh yeah, like Wednesday and Pugsley are often palling around and getting into mischief together. And even though this is playing more of a dramatic angle on that, their relationship is strained, I still found it very charming. And the actor who plays Pugsley, for the brief amount of time we've seen him, I thought it was very charming to get the two of them together, to get one-on-one moments with everybody, but also to get, like the awkward family therapy scene and stuff like that. And then the interrogation, or not the interrogation, but, like in the jailhouse with Gomez and Wednesday, and sort of seeing those moments where, like, I thought they gave a nice array of moments in this episode to confront, the family trauma, but also to touch on the love that does exist there. And I think Jenna Ortega continues to really excel at showing the love that exists beneath the surface, even though she is very, very averse to expressing it. And I love characters like that, who you can tell something means I love you when it sounds and looks like anything but that. And, that's bread and butter of the Addams family. Just Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones, I really enjoyed across this episode. And the matches in the past, both in the casting and just the way they played all that stuff through the flashback, I thought was really gripping. Like, I don't know if I would mark it as my favorite episode either, but it does feel like it's one I would remember out of the series as being, the fun Addams family episode, and I appreciate that we got that too.
Yeah, I feel like it's sort of it easily could have felt perfunctory. Like, we need to do an Addams family episode, and we, because sometimes it can feel forced, and it didn't feel forced. This is a storyline that they had to deal with, and again, enhancing the characters. And on top of that too, it does good world building. It's setting up the stakes between. It's almost like an X-Men type of deal.
Yeah.
Or if Muggles in the wizarding world hated wizards, you know.
Yeah, if like if Hogsmeade was the round the corner from like a regular human town, and they had to kind of and the way that they touch on that, like there's so many reasons to be like, you Jericho bastards are always conniving against us, but it's really like, I did think that as much as the mayor is not a stand-up guy, that idea of like, I was trying to protect the well-being of Nevermore and Jericho because they're both going to fall into this trap.
Yeah, I think they did a good job there. I think and I wonder how it would feel, because I know most people binge this show, and this is really kind of a slight because I really did enjoy this episode overall. I liked it quite a bit for all the reasons I said, and I wouldn't want it to not be here. I did feel that there was something about the way the pacing was from the first to the fourth episode that kind of felt like it was ramping up. It was like really ramping up, and it was just it was flowing so well. And this kind of felt like, I don't want to say an interruption, but it did kind of mess with the pacing a little bit. It was definitely on the slower side. And granted, I know some stuff that we might say might sound like a contradiction because I'm like, I love the pacing. I like when it breathes. And while I do like that, I guess in the world of Wednesday Addams, of the show Wednesday, I'm not as particularly drawn to the actual Addams family characters as I am the other cast members that we've been hanging out with. And that might be just like, it might just be on me. I imagine that is not a common consensus and a common opinion. It's like, I enjoy them and I really like watching them. But I think because it's like the fifth episode and we're now like taking a detour to focus solely on them, it made me, I found myself like, but I've been so into everyone else's storyline that I've kind of just, that's where my heart's been at.
I'd meet you halfway on that, because like for me as a viewer, it's exciting and fun. Like I appreciate this as the Addams Family episode, but in being so, it does feel more like an interlude in the middle of the season with a side mystery versus the overarching feeling. Like it really fully kept the overarching momentum of the show going.
Yeah, and I liked Gwendoline Christie for we don't really get much of her when you think about it. We don't really get a lot of her. But I think that kind of performance too is something that could also be I don't know how much credit she really gets for her performance here, and maybe she shines a lot more in the later episodes, because I feel like whenever she's there, she brings a lot, even in like the most, sometimes in just like the reactions she gives. And the way her and Jenna Ortega play off of each other is really well executed. And I love the sense of history that she carries with her in almost every moment that she's on screen.
Yeah.
I think that resonates really strong. So I really I loved like the last few minutes of this when she does piece together. And that's more of like the mystery solving that I want to see more of. Like I know we had like a minor complaint about the end of episode 2 of wanting to like kind of be there with her. And I think like, that's a good way to for her to figure it out. To put one and one together. I thought that was a good mystery solving for, what was his name? Rowan?
Rowan,
with what happened with Rowan.
And it's well motivated in the dialogue to the point where by the end of the episode it doesn't feel like just a random occurrence or a random like contrivance of the plot or something. And I agree, like Gwendoline Christie, she's really good at always seeming so like so put together, but also so high strung that like everything is like just beneath the surface ready to break through, and she has to kind of keep this poise. And I think there's a lot of magic to what she does. Like whenever she's on screen, and even the actress that got to play the younger version of her, like even though it was a recast and whatever, I noticed it, but at the same time in the moment I was like, oh great, like this still feels like the same character.
I do wish, I really do, if there's one part of this that I do wish we definitely got, that we could have received as an audience, is a better scene after Gomez is let out and between him and the sheriff. Because that sheriff has been on this guy's mind for 30 years.
It's been a part of his life.
And I felt like that scene just didn't quite. I like the latter half of it about talking about like, hey, maybe essentially implying like maybe our futures can be a little bit different because look at our children bonding with each other, right? Like I get that because the show deals so much with I mean, the town itself is so much of a history and generational trauma situation they're dealing with. And it's like trying to keep the peace between people with powers and normies. And I did think like there could have just been a little bit more meat on that one scene.
Oh, totally.
After all that, because it was just kind of like, but I will say that there is one part of my brain that goes, well, they've done a lot to also establish that the sheriff is not exactly the most emotional guy. So he might just be the kind of who's like, whoopsie, you know. And I'm like, I'm not really going to talk about it, but he'd just be like, sorry about that, you know.
I think you could still make a scene with that flavor.
Like learn something. I don't know what he would have learned, but
at least
more of a moment, I think.
Yeah. At least more of an acknowledgement of hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry for holding this grudge against you for so many years and going out of my way to try and apprehend you in the process.
Yeah, that was one part of this that I was like, oh, I did feel like I needed that.
Yeah. And acknowledge, and it would give you an opportunity to acknowledge the way he's treated Wednesday up till this point too. But,
and I don't know what the original Gomez. I'm not familiar with like the original. What is it? Comic literature? What is it, newspapers?
Comic strip was what, New Yorker comic strip or something like that. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with what the OG representation is. I don't mean that in ethnic wise. A depiction of Gomez Addams is like. But, you know, from knowing like Raul Julia and generally how Gomez Addams is portrayed, it is nice to get a more like subtle Gomez Addams.
Sure.
I do like what he actually brings to the table. And I do enjoy Catherine Zeta-Jones. And they don't have like electric chemistry, but they do have a nice chemistry with each other.
They're not quite Raul Julia and Angelica Houston in that department, but but I enjoy them
sketchy sometimes.
Yeah, sure. That's a good way to put that. I like them very much individually, and I'm happy for the moment. But even something about the way they realize, because like him kissing all up and down her arms is kind of a trope of the Addams family. And I feel like even the way they handled that was like one of the more slightly less natural things that the episode tried to do. So I mean, yeah, it's not like a big deal that I'd hold against it, but that's what makes me as a viewer go like, oh, wow, I want to get more time with them, so I could feel like Morticia and Gomez have. I don't know. I just feel like the more time you spend on screen, the more they get to play, the more that dynamic and that rapport will develop and feel as time. I almost bought their relationship more as the flashback characters as the younger.
I was gonna say that. And that might have been too because of such a high stakes situation. There's so much emotion to bring out of a scene like that, you know. So whereas there's always sort of that like spooky, ghoulish undertone with them, and it is fun, and I like their individual scenes a lot.
Yeah,
and I love the way this show is shot. I really love the cinematography, like the reflective lighting that they always do, and there's some great like blending with. I notice it a lot with hair and background. They do an excellent job with color schemes, and I'm so impressed. It's good to get a show where like they put more effort into this than like a Marvel movie.
I know. Part of me wants to look at that, like the scope of. In wanting to praise the visuals, I would love to take a look at this side by side with some other Netflix stuff, because that's a common complaint about stuff like Marvel, but also even like Netflix shows or streaming shows in general, is like things are shot with this sort of flat array of colors so that you can kind of do anything. But I feel in post, but here it always feels like the vibrancy and the contrast of the colors is really on point and vivid. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it pops. And I just love the aura of everything all around. So yeah, I still really enjoy this episode a lot, and I had a little bit more desire, I guess, for some stuff. I wouldn't really call it like criticism. I had more desire for some things to feel a little bit more for, but I don't want that to. I really wouldn't want that to read as got issues.
Yeah. It's that thing of like, it's not necessarily missing something. There's just stuff I would have liked more of. Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Alrighty, guys. Well, what did you think about the Addams family and Bianca? That sounds like spinoff. There's no how can you do that in the next 3 episodes?
That's going to be perfect.
Either a setup for season 2 or a spinoff, right?
Wednesday and Bianca are going to go to the whatever the siren place is called, and they're going to buddy cop team up and figure out what's going on there.
You know, I sometimes read the top comments on the. I get afraid to scroll through comments on these videos. I appreciate leave a comment. I'll look through them after we're done filming all of them. I get afraid to go too deep because whenever we're binging a show, I'm like, don't go too deep because you can spoil some shit. So I only read the top comments sometimes. They're the ones you see hearted, and I have noticed some top comments have pointed out that Jenna Ortega didn't want to, insisted that there's not a love triangle here, and that they wanted to honor that request or something that echoes something like that. Huh. But I feel like the show does do it. We keep being reminded of it, but I'm like, we're 5 episodes in, and it seems to point to it in like a romance.
It absolutely does, and I think it works really well, and I bet I could absolutely 100% see it coming out in the end where she's just like, yeah, I just like both of you as friends, and that's it. I'm not really interested in this, and I feel like that could be the twist of that aspect of the story, because I think they certainly want it to read that way. Yeah. Even the way of how Gomez talks about with the sheriff about, I'd be worried about anyone that my daughter sets her deadly viper eyes on or some shit like that. Viper gaze.
Yeah. That would be that's definitely part of it. I don't know. It's not really a big deal to me. But
it's interesting to note, though.
Yeah.
And because it seems like Jenna Ortega does have a fair amount of input, at least.
She has control over this. She's like Dwayne Johnson.
She is now, she's the Ryan Reynolds of being Wednesday Addams.
I choreograph my dance. I rewrite my lines. I don't want this for the character. I'm 20 years old.
Season 2 written, directed, produced, and starring Jenna Ortega.
She does seem to have it, or it just sounds like they respect creative contribution. And best idea wins. It might be the sentiment around the set of Wednesday, because that's what it sounds like. I'm like, how does she? She seems like so much credit goes to her, her ideas and her requests, and I think that's really cool. It's almost unheard of.
I know. For that to be such a conversation surrounding a show too. Like, it seems like a thing I've heard just people out there talking about.
It's a common sentiment. So it's cool to see that. See such a good show come out of it. Alrighty, guys. Well, what did you think about this episode? Leave your thoughts down below. You can subscribe, leave a like. Last but not least, we always end this with a Patron. Tyler Haig. If I was Morticia, you would be my Gomez. Yeah. And I would just want to kiss you up and down from head to toe all day, every day, and never stop showing my affection for you, because in some ways you are like the Gomez Addams. This Gomez Addams. In some ways you are like the Gomez Addams of our Patreon page. Just always loving and super adorable,
enthusiastic.
I don't get the impression that you're tall. You seem like a shorter fella.
You could be like a 5'5".
I've seen you from here to here, so I'm not really sure. But you have
3 feet tall,
childlike teddy bear sincerity about you, and I adore that, and I'll never, ever forget so much of the energy of yours that you have shared with us throughout the years. And I look forward to just keep talking with you, buddy. And whenever we make our trip out to Wisconsin, which will be in like 20 years when I'm taking a road trip, because I don't think I'm ever going to fly to Wisconsin. What's out there? If you're around in L.A., let me know. I'll buy you a drink, buddy.
And let us know what's in Wisconsin.
Might be something worth checking out.
Maybe.
A shopping mall.
Sure, a Green Bay Packers game. And Red Letter Media. We could go visit Red Letter Media. There you go.
Yeah, they just let you visit.
Yeah, you could just walk in. That's how Macaulay Culkin gets there.
Sure, they love reaction channels.
They do. They love exactly what we do here, and they find great value in it.
Sure, they adore it.
But we value and adore you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.